All right, Skybound and Image Comics continues to entertain us and make us want to buy another comic book. This is Duke #2, which just dropped. The Transformers G.I. Joe shared universe and shared events is what makes this work so well. If you are a fan of either or both of those franchises, or if you really just want to have some fun reading a comic, I can't recommend these enough. I'm having such a great time. It was such a thrill to see that Duke #2 was today. I kind of lost track of my dates. So anyway, we end up with the story about Duke. Now, if you remember, Duke had a brief cameo back in Transformers #2. He witnessed his friend getting murdered by Starscream. He saw the robot and the plane transform. No one believes him. And of course, in Duke #1, he becomes like the man on the run because he's trying to seek out what's going on. He realizes there's cover up. He realizes all their stuff's happening, right? Then, of course, to escape all of that, he's jumping through glass, whatever, gets shot. And he ends up meeting a fellow Joe. Now, what's fun about this is Joshua Williamson did such a great job here of just taking his time. He didn't rush this. He allows the Joe fans to get a little bit of a reference. And then here you have Lance Steinberg right here. I also want to give him credit because this character is not like, well, I don't think this is a character that was featured in the movie. So this wouldn't be some of the movie, the normies would know. Now, with that said, this shot, I think Jordie Bellaire kind of misses a little bit. Obviously, it's clutch because we end up like almost like 3 different reactions. It's like you have this version, and then this version, and then this version. So there are moments in this book, and actually all of the books, where there are some panels that are not quite so great, but they all feel like they're in the same universe. They all feel like they're all written by the same kind of people, the same kind of tone, same kind of rules, things like that. But there are some panels. Okay. With that said, though, it never derails itself or goes out of fashion. So this is Clutch's girl, who he doesn't remember her name. She gives him a little smack, and then it's basically about helping Duke. And then it's quickly about taking him and doing all that before they tap into this device, which triggers this. Now, if you want to be 100% free of spoilers, because there's a spoiler coming up next that ties to the other books, but I don't want you to completely not have the experience if that's what you're after. And there's some other appearances that we'll touch on briefly. I'm not gonna really get into them too much because I don't want to spoil all of it. But I wanted you to have a feel, know that this is fun. It is it is action and things that are going on without some sort of like complicated, weird conspiracy government thing that's behind. No, it's just happening. Is it relatively slow for graphic novel purposes? I don't think so. I think this actually works well, and it would be great to actually see them put them all together, or if they had like a chronological order of how they wanted you to read them, like a Nightfall would have been, where they numbered them in order, even though they bounced from different titles. Something like that would have actually kind of made this even cooler. However, all that said, it really doesn't matter too much for you to enjoy the book and have a good time reading it. So, with that said, Joe fans, you have to be as happy as I am when this is where they went. Because we had Cobra Commander get his own book. We saw one panel of Destro. And we get just, hey, by the way, he's out there. Something's triggering him. And we move on. We're back to this. Now, what happens next involves other Joes. And at first, I didn't totally get what was happening with the radio and all this other kind of stuff before it kind of gets crazy, right? So, I think Joe fans are now having a really great time because now you're starting to get them showing up, and it is interesting how well this all came together, and yet at the same time, it's about bringing Duke down, right? Like, I don't want to fight you, and then it's like a shot to the face, and then that's it, right? I kind of had mixed feelings, but I think it's like this is going to be the unraveling of all of this will likely be the setup for the Joe book, the Larry Hama book that we know is coming. So I was actually really, really happy that all this kind of came together. Duke is sort of like your main Joe. Things are kind of building around, and then you have these other characters that are coming into the fray, and that will build up everything else. So I think it was really solid to kind of handle it this way. and not be like a big, 6 characters show up here. And then you basically have the prison sequence and some conversation here with some other references before you get another great cameo right here. So, and then of course you get the tease for the next book, which gives you even more to go on, right? So here's the thing. First off, I didn't think I would like Scruffy and whatever Joe, but there's a comment about it. Like, I don't even think I've ever seen you with a 5 o'clock shadow, and here he is, like, man on the run, Scruffy. It's almost like he's still battling the brokenness and the PTSD, and him not being his integrity has been called into question. Again, we're adding more characters to the G.I. Joe thing in this shared universe. I love that. And I love the fact that all of the characters feel like the characters that we know and love. It's not as though, we have Rock and Roll and Stalker, that kind of thing. But it's not as though you're not going to get, the characters that you want. You're going to get Duke. You're going to get Roadblock. You're going to get the characters that are going to feel right. And that's going to line up with the Transformers in the Transformers part of things. So it was such a glorious day. I had such a fun time reading it. I don't know if you're reading this or not, if you're having fun. If you're a Joe's fan, I'd love to hear from you. If this is your thing or not. If you need help catching up these books, I am going to be some shopping. I'm going to be trying to get them. The problem I'm finding too is if my local shop doesn't have them, I want to try to get them online. Once you start factoring in $5 or $6 for shipping, now I'm like, I need to get a whole group of them together so it spreads around that cost, and it doesn't just, and I'm not paying $10 for a $5 book or something like that. But if you are interested in these and you don't have any, shoot me an email, the bjonespops@gmail, or DM me on Twitter, something like that. Let me know which issues you might be looking for, and I'll coordinate with you before I make a purchase. That way we can maybe, share in the deal and try to get a bigger buy on something like that. So tell me what you guys are thinking. I'm having a great time with this. Can't wait till next time. Take care, everybody. I am Pops.